So I told him, you have to become a billionaire. Why did I do that? I did that because when you're around somebody that is so big and has so much potential, but they don't quite see it at the time, you know, a couple of things happen. First of all that energy gets directed at me. I'm the target, but I don't want to be the target. I'm the teammate. Your friends and your family are not the enemies. They're not the target, right? So I knew if I could get him focused out there, and that became the goal, then it would come off of me. So I put him on the $1 billion mission. I also told him, look, we've met a couple of billionaires. They're no better than you. They don't want to make a difference. They don't want to see families financially free and have financial legacy. You have all the tools. You have all the information. For you not to do this is a transgression against yourself. Like, I can't be a woman next to you of comparable magnitude and allow you to stay small just because it's comfortable, just because I might want a little extra hand-holding at movie time and you turn off all the electronics and prove that you love me somehow. That's not going to work for us. What's going to work for us in the way, the greatest act of love I can show you is to help you achieve your goals and your dreams. And if you can achieve your goals and your dreams, then guess what? If you go out and help 8 billion people, and I allowed and created the mindset, the infrastructure, and the support, then I get to take credit in that too. If you get help by grant, and did I help you? See? So we hit target number 1. Target number 1 was make $1 billion. We did that. We needed to do that in order to get your attention. You know, who won't listen to you? Who won't take your call? You've got stats. You might not like what Grant says. You might not like the way he delivers the content, but you can't dispute his stats. You might not like me. You might not like my hair today. I'm still deciding on this do myself. So they like it. But you can't argue with the stats. The stats don't lie. So we had this accomplishment for ourselves, which was so huge, right? Because there were a lot of sacrifices that went into that. There was a lot of things that we had to do right, and a lot of things that we had to do right by avoiding it in order to get that. But right now, Grant and I are on a spiritual legacy play now. Now it's how many people can come along with us. How can we go out and make a difference and change the world? What can we do? How can we help? So that's really our mission right now. The better y'all do, the better we do. It's why we're looking to expand and grow and have partners all over the world. You know, how we did that, how we got there is we did 3 things, okay? For the last, maybe since 2008, the first thing we had to do was get on the same page. We had to figure out who we are as a couple. In 2008, when we were on the verge of losing everything financially, we took that economic hit just like you did, I'm sure, if you're old enough. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was pregnant with our first daughter. Grant's watching Lehman collapse. I'm like, what are we gonna do? He says, we're gonna die. I'm like, do I look like death? I don't think so. Plus, you told me, there was this first phone call that we had. It was a disastrous phone call, by the way. Like, he showed up on this audition, this commercial that I was shooting, and got my number from the director, which is a huge no-no in LA. But he gets my number, he calls me. Okay, I went to Los Angeles when I was 17 years old. Okay, 17, I knew no one from New Orleans, right? I go out there at 17. Now I'm in my late 20s. And I thought I had seen and heard it all until I had this phone call from Grant Cardone, which after he got my number from the director, he gives me this phone call. And he was like, hey, my name's Grant Cardone. I met you the other night on the commercial, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, and you know, by the way, when people hang out with me, their lives tend to improve. Wow. I was like, yeah, good one, dude. Like, just another one of those rich guys that think they can like impress women with stuff. I was not impressed. So I hung up the phone with him, and so he proceeded to call me over the next 13 months every month, twice a month, with no return phone call. This was the answering machine days. But finally, because I'm so self-centered, or because I'm so predictable, I don't know, because I'm so, you come up with the word after I tell you what happened. So he leaves this one message on my machine after the 26th phone call, and he found out from one of my girlfriends I was a sporting clay competition shooter. So he leaves this message on the phone. He was like, "Hey, Elena, it's Grant Cardone again." You know, he'd always leave these messages. And he was like, "I rented the shooting range. You know, if you want to show up, I have the whole range. We can go shoot some guns or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, rich boy wants to show off. Okay," because it ain't cheap shooting guns, right? And so I was like, okay, I'll show up to that. So I know I'm very predictable, and I was like, screw him. I'll, like, you know, take advantage of him. I don't know, whatever that chick is called, that's what I did. And so I show up at the shooting range anyway. Long story, he wasn't as horrible as I thought he was. Kind of gets him in the circle. He starts showing up. Anyway, we start dating, then we get married, whatever. Now I'm in this situation where he's telling me I'm gonna die, and I'm pregnant. I'm like, do I look like death to you? And I was so furious. I was like, and by the way, you told me, you made a promise to me that if I got with you, my life would get better. You never mentioned anything about death. Like, where's the bait and switch on that one? Anyway, I sent him to his room, his office, which was down the hall, and I was like, you're gonna figure this out, and don't you come out until you do. And so he's like, you know, goes into the office and comes back 3 hours later, and he puts a book in my hand. At the time, it was called Sell to Survive. And he was like, I wrote this book. It's not going to make us rich, but I know what I have to do, and I'm never going to make you worry about money again.